These 4 one-minute habits were the backbone of my weight loss. And when I stopped doing them in the hustle and bustle of my move to Lisbon last year, for the first time in 8 years, I started regaining my lost weight rapidly. Why are they such game changers? These habits are the key dominoes. I knock one down and all the upcoming dominoes of weight loss get taken care of automatically for me. Tiny effort, big results. By the way, the third habit I recommend you start immediately after this video. But let's start from the top because they fit morning to evening. Habit 1 I do right after I wake up, and I call it Perk Yo Self. No, I don't mean drink coffee. Although I don't blame you if coffee is the first thing you reach for in the mornings. I too used to wake up groggy and tired. This wasn't surprising because the night before I had probably committed revenge bed procrastination. Meaning even though my eyelids needed to be held up by toothpicks, I'd force myself to stay awake because if I sleep, the fun me time ends. Also unsurprising then was I would get ready in the morning at a snail's pace. And if I had any workouts planned in the morning, whoa. If I was feeling motivated, I'd get my butt in gear and go work out anyway. But inevitably, I'd start justifying my I don't wanna decision with the very logical adult reasoning of I'm late for work, I'll exercise later. And then skip the workout entirely that day because my energy ain't going anywhere but down as the day goes on. Fast forward a week of doing this and I'd be racked with guilt and frustration with myself. I just couldn't understand why I refused to do what I know works for weight loss. Why did I keep losing motivation? But see, motivation isn't like a train that sticks to a schedule. It's like making new friends. I just show up to things and maybe I find a good friend, maybe not. The same goes for motivation. All I can do is create space for motivation to show up. The Perk Yo Self habit does exactly this. It says I have to be ready within 15 minutes of waking up and out that door. Which means I lay out my gym clothes and breakfast for tomorrow, and on the walk, I have no agenda. It's fine if it lasts 10 minutes or 1 hour, it's fine if I keep walking and skip gym, or sit down and watch videos on my phone. The magic of this is that motivation is 5 times more likely to show up for me. Most times, I end up actually going to the gym. Again, I don't commit to a set workout there either. Sometimes I do the full workout, sometimes I do half, and sometimes I just go to the steam room and relax. Doesn't matter. This is my key domino habit, and I know that if I knock it down every day, in the long run, I'll have been more on the wagon than off it. And there are so many other side benefits. The sunlight first thing in the morning sets my sleep clock correctly. Fun me time is not all dependent on my nighttime, which cuts out revenge bed procrastination, which means I sleep on time, which means fewer cravings and higher energy, which ups the odds of my actually doing this key domino. It's a virtuous loop that builds and builds on itself. But then after this awesome start, I'd get to work and be totally bowled over by the chaos. 347 unread emails waiting for me. 24 DMs flashing. There's suddenly a meeting on my calendar starting in 13 minutes that wasn't there the night before when I left work. I am scrambling to catch up. I valiantly take care of all the asks from my peers and boss. Once finally on top of things, I look up to find it's 2:30 p.m. What? I have a whole write-up to do that I was hoping to get done today. Where has the time gone? I start on my write-up only to find my mind distracted. By the time I have a good momentum going, it's 5:30 p.m. I'd leave, but then spend the entire evening stressed about how I'm going to meet deadlines. And when I stress, I eat. Then worse, I'd wake up exhausted and put doing the Perk Yo Self habit at risk. A few weeks of this, and I'm back at square one. Stressed, exhausted, and yo-yoing the same 20 pounds over and over again. I'd wonder, how can I possibly make the time for weight loss habits every day? With this approach to handling demands on my schedule, I could never have. And that's why I also need the second habit, which I call Check Yourself. Here's how it works. First, I open a notebook to a new page, write the date on top, and then my most important thing, or MIT, for today. This is the one thing I need to get done for the day to be called productive for me. Second, I start an app called Timeout, which I have set to block my screen every 25 minutes for 5 minutes. Then I start working. When my screen gets blocked, I write down in my notebook the start and end time and what I was doing. Then I give it an up arrow if I felt happy doing it, or a down arrow if I didn't enjoy doing it. There are no neutral feelings. This simple 1-minute jot down has so many side benefits. First, every time I write down a task, the big MIT on top of the page centers me back to my intention for the day. I start questioning if the task I'm doing truly needs to be done right now, or am I confusing importance for urgency? Second, having this 5-minute break makes me realize when a task is bloating up, like spending 50 minutes answering emails when I still have my MIT to do. I start considering if I should snooze some of these emails for later. Third, I use the 5-minute break to get some steps in, stretch, or practice some hand-eye coordination. I can't tell you how many times I've had a breakthrough on the task I was working on during this. And lastly, the energy audit plants a seed to eliminate, reduce, or delegate the tasks I see myself not enjoying repeatedly. I find 9 out of 10 times when I do this, I end the day feeling on top of things. This means I'm not stressed about deadlines, so I don't stress eat, and I'm ready for Perk Yourself. But this does not mean a work notification in the evenings can't derail my good feelings. My brain would go from relaxed to alert in an instant. My attention once again stuck on work. Some days though, my own excitement about how on top of things I am would get me daydreaming about how much more I'd get done tomorrow. #boss. While this is all fine and good for one day, 1 week, or even 1 month, inevitably my ability to focus on work would start tanking. And then suddenly my notebook time tracking is filled with distracted as the task and my energy is negative throughout. I am again falling behind on deadlines. The stress is back, and so is the stress eating. This is why the third habit is called Free Yourself. It has 3 parts. First part is that by 5:30 p.m. I must be out the door. Think of it as a Perk Yourself habit. Second, I must leave my work phone at work, aka my home office. I own 2 phones. This 5-year-old phone is my work phone with all the work apps, and this phone that I just bought is my home phone. It has no work apps. When I leave work, aka my home office, I leave my work phone there. And I have installed the Stay Free app on my home phone and home laptops, which blocks me after 1 hour of usage of the Chrome browser, aka how I access work stuff outside work. If there's an emergency, I can go into the Stay Free app to extend my time. But I think this has happened maybe once in 6 months. And the last part of this habit is to go somewhere where my attention can be absorbed by other things, like cafes or this park. I carry this tiny pocket notebook with me, in which I dump any work thoughts still clogging my mind. I also like drawing in it, and sometimes I just sit and people watch. I'm not always 100% successful in ridding myself of work thoughts, but I find that the more I do this, the less likely I am to have consecutive days of thinking of work outside of work, which means I'm focused at work and keep up with deadlines. I'm not stressed, and that means no stress eating. But what about eating well when I do eat? Years of being told to clear my plate means I have a tendency to keep eating even after I'm full. My sense of portions is also way off when it comes to my favorite foods. For example, rice is vital to any meal I have, and it still shocks me how little 1 serving of rice compared to what I guess it to be in my head. Also nuts. Who stops after reaching for just 1 handful into a bag? And all of this becomes twice as difficult if I am eating out of stress. Stopping all 4 habits came to a head when I moved to Lisbon last year. Within 3 months, I had regained 25% of my lost weight back. When I finally bought a scale and realized what was happening, I scrambled to get all my 4 backbone habits in place. I had experienced it before, but it was shocking to see just how much my cravings plummeted when I implemented the first 3 habits. And that still didn't mean I wasn't cleaning off my large plates and bowls. Which is why this last habit is also a backbone habit, and it's called, say it with me, Treat Yourself. And this habit has 2 parts. 1, I replaced all my bowls and plates with various smaller sized bowls and designated food groups for each bowl size. Not going to lie, I'm a big fan of eating in bowls instead of plates. And lastly, I return all the big containers of food back into the refrigerator before eating. I must be eating at the other end of the house from where the big container of foods are. I cannot be watching something while I eat. I can listen to something though. And I eat with this smaller spoon. All of this creates a mindless mindfulness around food. I don't need to wrestle with myself for every food choice. As long as I use the designated bowls and make grabbing a second serving a walk across the house and a chore of taking out all the big food containers again, I automatically pace my eating right. And I know when I'm satiated closer to when I actually get full because I'm not half distracted and I'm eating slower because of my tiny spoon. The magic of these 4 habits is that they're quick and they're easy because they don't prescribe what should happen. I can still go for 10 servings of ice cream in my small half bowl. I can still watch a video instead of going to the gym. I can still not reflect on my energy audit and keep working as I wish. I can still override the Stay Free app on my phone. But I'm surprised by how frequently the right things do happen if I just knock down each 1-minute habit domino. If you want to intentionally direct your actions during these backbone habits for more tiny effort, big reward type of weight loss, then check out this video where my co-coach Lucy talks about the 3 habits that boosted her metabolism so much that they helped her lose 30 pounds. And always remember, you can do it.